Hello, welcome back to Learn Oikonomia. In this video, we are going to discuss a much debated topic, that is angel tax. Is this a tax that is peculiar to India alone, or is that widely applicable to all the nations of the world? Or is that tax applicable to all sectors, or is this limited to only one specific sector? We would be answering these questions in this video. So let's get started to see what angel tax is all about and what are the discussions related to this tax. If you look at the Finance Bill of 2023, we could understand that a government had made for a motion. It had taken a move by telling that Indian startups that offer their shares to foreign investors may have to pay a new tax, and they call it angel tax. Okay, so with respect to angel tax, the Finance Bill of 2023 plays a lot of importance, and this is something which is related to the field of Indian startup also. If you look back, you could see that it was only supposed to be paid for investments raised by residents, Indian investors. A resident Indian investors means the people who live in India, people who are the residents of India. Okay, so in order to make this come into an effect, the Finance Bill of 2023 proposed to amend 56 to section 56 to 7B of the income tax. So thus we could see that this angel tax is something related to 2023 finance bill, and also this is related to startup, and this is also related to the startup made by, or the investments made by, the resident Indian investors. Also this is related to section 56 to 7B of the income tax. Let's proceed to see more about it. Before moving further, let's see what is the meaning of angel investors. This would be that investor who would be providing capital for a startup. The provider of capital for startup is known as angel investor. And how this person would be providing capital for startup? This would be in exchange for some convertible debt or some ownership equity. Okay. So these persons are capable of doing these kinds of things. As a result, we can call these as wealthy individual, or else these people would be having some high net worth with them, or else they might be having some huge wealth with them. And they are the ones who would be generally providing the seeding capital or the initial capital to start a startup. Okay. And why are they providing the seeding capital or initial capital? Because they could see that they will be earning some healthy profit from it, or else they will be expecting for a capital appreciation to their investment. And there is some tax benefit when it comes to eligible startups, and these tax benefits are related to two sections. One is with respect to the exception from levy. And this is this is something which is peculiar to the levy of angel tax. As I was telling earlier, this is related to section 56 to 7B of the income tax. Then there exists some deduction under 81AC of income tax. These are the two tax benefits available to an eligible startup. Let's define the concept of angel tax. So as I was telling earlier, this is something which would be levied on the startups. And when is this levy? When startups receive some investment in excess of their fair market value. It is only this excess comes into play, angel tax would be levied by the government. And the perceived profit is considered as the income from other sources. And what does this include? So this would be, it's taxed at 30% and termed as an angel tax. Okay. Now we could see that this particular tax or angel tax is not that much applicable in the case of investment made by venture capital firm. And what do you mean by this? Whenever these investments are done by foreign people, they are not supposed to pay angel tax. Actually, these people are exempted from paying angel taxes. Foreigners or foreign investors, they are exempted from paying angel taxes. So this is only limited. Angel tax is only applicable to those investments made by Indian investors, the Indian residents. So we could consider, or colloquially we call it as angel tax. As I was telling, it is described in 56(2)(7)(b) part of Income Tax Act of 1961. And this particular clause was inserted into this particular act, the Income Tax Act of 1961, in the year of 2012. Why that was being included or incorporated into the Income Tax Act of 1961 in 2012? So this was mainly to prevent the laundering of black money. The government wanted to stop black money, and also it wanted to stop some round tripping. And how can this be done? This can be done by investments with a large premium into unlisted companies. Okay. So we could see that this tax is something related to taxing the capital receipts, which would be unique to the India in the global context. So you are getting answer to the first question that I was asking in the initial section of this video. I was asking you whether it was applicable to other parts of the country. So this is actually, angel tax is a unique tax to India in the global context. And as I was saying, this would be related to startup section, not to other sectors, only related to startups. Okay. Now, we could see that as more and more new technology or new startups start raising this venture capital funding, this would be coming under the IT department scrutiny. Why? We could see that these kinds of deals, so some investors paying a premium above the face value or their fair market value of what? Of their securities. So they were taxed as income for their startup. And when it comes to angel tax specifically, we could see that this is being levied on startup at a rate of 30.9% on the investment in excess of their market value. This is something that we have already explained. So even after fundraising, many startups were retrospectively assessed for this particular tax. Now, what are the implications of angel tax? Does it have some role in the Indian economy? If you look at the age between, or the period between 2016 and 2019, we could see that startups have urged the government to add some exceptions, especially in the form of angel tax. No startup would be having a mentality to pay angel tax. Nobody would be liking to pay some tax to the government, because tax always acts as a burden to the people, to the corporate sector, etc. For everyone who pay the tax, it's a burden for them. Even though it is actually a kind source of income for the government, the person who pay the tax doesn't want to pay the tax, and that is why the investors, especially the Indian resident investors, are telling the government to exempt them from angel tax. And what is the step taken by the government? We could see that in March 2019, some exemption was provided to startup under certain conditions. So exemption, government was ready to give some exemption, but the government was saying that, okay, if you satisfy these conditions, we will be giving you exemptions. So, was that got any change in 2013? 2023, we could see that the finance bill of 2023 was making some changes. So, is that something related to changing these kinds of exemptions? Actually, not all of them have been changed. Startups are still exempt from angel tax when the total aggregate amount for deal is under Indian rupee of 25 crore. Okay, so they will see whether your total aggregate amount is under rupees 25 crore or not. Then the government would be deciding based on that. And what being amended in the Finance Bill of 2023 is the exemptions for overseas investors, the people who come from foreign countries and invest in India. This has been exempted. This category of people have been exempted from angel tax. So that means when a startup raises funding from a foreign investor, that too will now be counted as income and be taxable. Now, what is the main motive behind this move? By removing some exemptions for overseas fund, angel tax is looking to track such kind of transactions where Indian individuals are limited partners. Okay, they don't want, the government doesn't want Indian investors to be limited partners in some foreign made investments. If they are active partners, okay, then they would get exemption. Otherwise, if they are limited partners, no, they won't get any kind of exemption. And the Indian government does not always have visibility into the LPs that make up foreign funds. So that is why the government is making this kind of a distinction. Let's go to some implications related to this tax. It has got a lot of implications in the startup sector in India. Actually, it is these kinds of things are ruling the ecosystems related to Indian startups. We could see that a majority of funds are raised from foreign investors. This is raised from overseas investors. Okay, and these the move taken by the government may push some startup to re-domicile the overseas. Despite the government bluster about improving the ease of doing business in India, we could see that many investors are concerned that applying strict taxes on their receipts, especially the capital receipts, without getting some adequate exemptions will lead to startup to move overseas. So we always say that the government of India is promoting investment in India. But what can be this kind of a situation if the government is taxing the resident investors? No, that will the resident people, Indian residents, they will fear to invest in India because they are afraid of paying a tax. They have to pay a tax if they invest in India. So this will push them to invest in startups in some foreign areas only. And this might put impact on the FDI inflows because regarding foreign investments, the government is creating a favorable environment in India. If foreign people are coming and investing in India, they will be exempted from angel tax. So this might put an impact on FDI inflows and hamper the ease of doing business with respect to the people who are there in India and investing in India. What can be a way related to this? What can be the next move? So we could see a massive downside of this tax, especially when it is concerned with investments. So here we are hoping among the investor class for more clarifications, and we want Finance Ministry to deal with some more discussions related to this. We need more and more clarifications related to this. We have to understand who all are actually exempted and who all are not exempted. So we need more and more discussions, debates, etc. related to the new avatar of this tax, which we call as angel tax. So that's all about today. I request you to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and you can be a part of my Telegram channel and Telegram group to discuss your doubts. Thank you for watching.